Hi, I'm live. For some reason, I decided to go live. How's everybody doing? I got my glass of water here. Check that out. I was thinking about getting a jug. I notice a lot of people using jugs nowadays, giant jugs of water. But I don't know. I like the classic glass personally. A little more classy than a plastic jug. How's everybody doing? So I'm just gonna go through some stories that there's too much stuff. Too many things happen that I don't acknowledge, don't have the time to. So we should acknowledge some of these things. And also, I just got a couple of random funny things I just saw right now that I'm gonna start with, but we'll do that. Okay, cool. Random stuff, and then we'll all chat, have a good time. I'll likely be in the bottom corner most of the stream. But hello from Michigan. Hello. I cannot read names on my streaming program, meaning I have to look over at my chat to see what the hell's going on or who's sending these messages, and it sort of complicates things a little bit. But I will do what I can here. So I'm getting sick again. It's fun. It's a good time. And I hurt my back twice in the span of 48 hours. I initially hurt it a little bit when I was trying to grab my son who was falling off the couch. And then I hurt it again when he was climbing up the stairs, and I bent down to get him, and I hurt my back again. Even worse than the first time. So it's really good. But back pain, lower back pain is apparently a thing that happens all the time to me. And I need to figure out how to stop it, because it is really a problem. You sure are cute. Well, thank you. I'm the oldest cute man that I think exists, I guess. All right. Ahem. I somehow I have not gotten COVID, at least according to the test that I've taken. I've been sick. I was sick all summer, over every 2 weeks because of daycare, and I'm sick now. I'm sure at some point I'm going to get it. It's just a matter of time. But whatever. I didn't even change. I'm wearing this Mario shirt. This is just, it's got a hole in it. This shirt is probably at least 15 years old. Mario. But you know what? That Mario trailer came out, and I thought it's the right time to express my love for Mario. All right, Ninja Joe, thank you for your super chat. Super chats are encouraged on this stream. So if you are feeling a little generous, want to support what I do, I will accept your super chat, and I will acknowledge them and thank you for them. So please do that. Now let me, and if you don't want to do super chat, but you're like, you know what, I want to give you money on a monthly basis. Well, just so happens, therationalnational.com/join. How'd that get there? Right there below the video, or below me on the video, and also below the video, under sources on YouTube. Check out all those links to support the channel. Okay. Let's start with fun, because you know I like fun. If I could just turn this into like a variety show, maybe some skits, then I would just do that, because the news is getting a little crazy. But let's check this out. Let me go down here. Boom. Technology. If you haven't seen this, hold on to your seat and get ready. This is one of the greatest things, and also terrible. I'm just gonna play it. And then yeah.
Constantly like a child in my
People
own
in
house.
love, they yell at each other all the time.
Oh, that's
They
true.
don't have
Ask him,
nothing
he's
to
been
do.
married for how long?
Over 20-something years.
Over 20
Look at him though,
years.
he look mad. You don't look happy, brother. You don't look happy.
He's very happy. Sherman Chow, a former TV show bailiff and current Harris County deputy charged with his wife's murder, now ordered not to attend her funeral. Renard Spivey appeared before a judge today. He's facing very specific rules for his bond. David Gonzalez explains.
Didn't see that coming, did you? When I first watched that, I thought, oh, this is a funny moment. Look at this funny. And then it's like, oh my God, it punches you in the face. Unbelievable. Life is weird. Life can be weird sometimes. That's what that video taught me. Life is weird. Ninja Joe, thank you again. Definitely not getting sick. Saying, try sleeping on floor for a week. For my back? I heard that's like from Seinfeld. That was Kramer's advice to Elaine when she hurt her neck or her back. I think it was her neck. Was that she was supposed to sleep on a solid piece of wood for a week or something. I feel like that doesn't really do anything. But maybe it does. Maybe Kramer's advice is right. Daniel, thank you for your super chat. Daniel Panic. Thank you. Thank you so much. So that was crazy. That was crazy. Also crazy. Tulsi Gabbard. I almost don't even want to. She has a new show, but don't acknowledge it. But look at this. So Pac-Man tweeted this out. That's really interesting. New logo that Tulsi Gabbard has for her new podcast, which launched yesterday. Oh, interesting. It's the same. It's like almost the exact same font. The straight show, and then the name on a bit of a slant, and almost the exact same, if not the exact same font. Oh, Jesus. The grifting is super hard with her. I just got done watching Aaron Brown's new video, Tulsi Gabbard on Joe Rogan's show. It is some of the stupidest Joe Rogan I've ever seen. It included this. Let me bring this up. This was. Maybe I'll play the clip if I can find it in somewhere. Let me see if I can find this garbage. I'm just like, why is the right posting this as if they should be proud of this? Okay, anyways, I guess this is who's sharing it right now. This is just, oh God. Let's just quickly watch this, okay?
My friend, his wife, is a school teacher, and she works at a school that had to install a litter box in the girls' room because there is a girl who's a furry who identifies as an animal, and her mother badgered the school until they agreed to put a litter box in one of the stalls. Yeah.
This is not true. There are several options, or maybe there are several potential reasons behind this. First of all, there is this debunked story. I don't know how many times this has to be debunked, but debunked story of litter boxes in classrooms. Let me see if I can get this. Here we go. Claim about litter boxes in New York school is unfounded. And this is now spread, many people now talking about this. These litter boxes in the classroom. So debunked, not true. But let's say in Joe's case, he's in Texas. That he has first. Notice how all these stories are like, it's a friend of a friend of a friend. That's who told me this. But let's say there are several reasons behind this. One, his friend is lying. Two, there is no friend. he just saw this headline and thought to personalize it. Three, his friend's wife is lying. Four, there actually is a litter box and it's being done by the kids to fuck with the teachers, which is a potential because of, how funny Gen Z is with their comedy. So that's definitely potential. But this idea that it's a real problem. We got to. Why aren't any politicians making this a part of the platform? We have to ban litter boxes in the classroom. It's gone too far. So dumb. And how about this? Let's grant him everything in the world. Let's say this is true. They had to put a litter box in the classroom. The kid, pisses in the litter box, takes a shit in the litter box in the classroom. Really? That's what they do there? But let's say there's a litter box sitting in the classroom. How does that affect anybody's life? Even though would be ridiculous, clearly, obviously, very stupid, why would you entertain any thought or any idea of doing that? But let's say it is there. How is this a topic of conversation from the right? Don't they have anything else to talk about? This is so stupid. But this is, this podcast is just completely unwatchable. I don't know how anybody gets through an episode of this shit now. I used to watch Rogan years ago, from like 2012 to like 2016, about there. And even and some episodes after that, if Bernie Sanders was on or Kyle Kalinske was on, I'd watch. But the vast majority of guests, from what I've seen for the past several years, are people that are clearly on the right. If they're political guests, clearly on the right. And if they're not, it's like once every few months. They'll be on. When was the last time that Kyle was even on? Like a year ago? I don't know. It's been a while. But he was on. Packman was on like 2 years ago. Empire Files, they were both on maybe a year ago. I don't know. But it's not, that isn't what the vast majority of these conversations are. And it is just complete nutso trash. And, I'm starting to think that this podcast has less and less of an influence. Like maybe I'm sure it has a massive audience still. It's on Spotify. It's like their lead podcast. But in terms of any influence that it may have over people, at this point, they had to have reached their limit, right? The amount of people that can be sucked into this trash, because there just isn't an infinite amount of people that are going to be taken in by this. People, I think, generally are a little more aware, question things a little more, and maybe also, even if they don't question this, maybe aren't all that concerned with an issue that doesn't affect their life at all. But I don't know. He could have gone a very different way. Someone mentioned on here, where did I just see it? If Comrade says he needs to debate Sam. Yeah, apparently him and Sam were having like email conversations a few years ago, and there was a chance for Sam Cedar to go on the show, and then I guess he didn't. But if that had happened, if Michael Brooks had gone on, there is a potential for a different version of Rogan. But even then, Rogan's had on Bernie Sanders, he's had on Kyle, and this is he resorts to his most animalistic urges to just be taken in by the stupidest garbage that exists, and making that a big issue while ignoring the actual major issues that are facing people. But as somebody who was so disconnected, now incredibly, he was wealthy before, but now we're talking 100 millionaire money, very disconnected. I don't think you're going to get back the old Joe. Not that he was ever perfect, but he was a guy that had good conversations at one point. And anyone who didn't watch him before, you may think I'm crazy, but no, go back to like 2012, he had on Cenk, Anna Kasparian years ago. They had good conversations. His brain is just Swiss cheese now. Like something's happened. He has shit for brains. I don't know, but whatever. It's done. He's done. What else? So I didn't cover this JD Vance thing. This JD Vance clip. Let's check this out. As a video file, I don't know why this guy, who I still don't know how to say his name, But he's very reliable, always has clips up on a consistent basis. Him and Aaron Rupar are very good at that stuff. But like, why are you filming it through like a shoebox? Like, what is this? This looks terrible. But anyways, let's see if the audio works and check out this clip with Tim Ryan here.
Just a few weeks ago in Youngstown, on the stage, Donald Trump said to J.D. Vance, "All you do is kiss my ass to get my support."
Of course, in case you don't know, this is the Ohio Senate race. On the left, Democrat. On the right, Republican. Tim Ryan versus J.D. Vance here. Let's continue. Actually, I'll start over.
Just a few weeks ago in Youngstown, on the stage, Donald Trump said to J.D. Vance, "All you do is kiss my ass to get my support." After Trump took J.D. Vance's dignity from him on the stage in Youngstown, J.D. Vance got back up on stage and started shaking his hand, taking pictures, saying, "Hey, aren't we having a great time here tonight?" I don't know anybody I grew up with, I don't know anybody I went to high school with that would allow somebody to take their dignity like that and then get back up on stage. Just a few weeks ago.
That was really good. That was really good. Going after J.D. Vance and showing, you know, his complete lack of character here. Democrats are often unwilling to do this kind of thing, but I do wish he was a little, I don't know, a little angrier or something. I wish there was a little more charisma behind the words. That's just me nitpicking here. I mean, I'm glad he did this. Tim Ryan, not the greatest Democrat. That said, much better than J.D. Vance, not even close. So to see this kind of approach, very, very good. Before I continue this, saw a chat here. Jeff Anderson says, "Here's some cough drop money. Thank you." In fact, I have right here. Look at this. I got some hulls. These are vanilla flavor, honey vanilla. The best hulls I've had. In fact, they're almost too much like candy, so I question their effectiveness, but they're definitely tasty. And then Daniel says, "No, here's some money." Thank you, Daniel, again for your support. Much appreciated. Drink some tea. Yeah, I should have made some tea before the stream, but whatever. My throat's still is still operating. I'm not completely terrible. But so Tim Ryan defeated. So this is from Adam Parkomenko. Tim Ryan defeated J.D. Vance in last night's debate. J.D. Vance refused to answer questions from reporters after and sent out this guy, who was then also defeated by a reporter. I actually have not watched this clip. So let's check this out.
Back to what I was asking you about at the beginning about abortion. Is that not right now in this election?
He answered that question.
No, he didn't.
No, I believe he did.
He did not give clarity on the broad scope of when he would be okay with abortion.
I believe he gave clarity on the issue.
So what was the clarity he gave?
You have to go back and look at the tape. I'm
asking you because we don't think he gave clarity.
Well, then there'll be an opportunity for follow-up.
When?
There's going to be a debate next week.
Okay. We should probably watch that clip from the debate about abortion, but if your spokesperson can't tell a reporter what your position is on the issue, then they know you are completely flip-flopping depending on what the audience is. And that's what all these Republicans are doing. I saw somebody else, the guy in the Republican in the Arizona race, after being in a debate and saying, "Oh, no, he supports abortion rights," or at least, you know, some aspect of it. He's on Fox News saying the complete opposite. And that's what all these freaks do. They're all complete phonies because they understand that their popularity within the party resides on that issue. And they have to be very strict against any rights at all. They have to be, you know, just completely for forced birth. Whereas when they're in a debate, it's a little bit different. But I want to see if I can find this J.D. Vance abortion clip. Here we go. Let's check this out.
Kill and confront the extremist movement of which J.D. Vance, unfortunately, is a part of, right? Who says that the President of the United States is intentionally trying to kill people with fentanyl? Who says that the election was stolen? J.D. Vance does. Who runs around with Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, who wants to ban books? You're running around with Lindsey Graham, who wants a national abortion ban. You're running around with Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's the absolute looniest politician in America. This is a dangerous group, and we do need to confront it. And that's why I'm running to represent the exhausted majority, Democrats, Republicans, and independents,
Candidates
against the extremists.
We are going to.
I mean, he's doing a good job here. He's framing the debate. He's framing the issues in a way that showcases how crazy J.D. Vance is. Who, by the way, like, it doesn't matter what J.D. Vance's personal feelings are, because he is a massive flip-flopper. He was criticizing Trump like just a few years ago. So understand that doesn't matter. Like, because often that sometimes is the argument. Oh, but he's just saying this to appeal to, you know, the voters. What matters is what you do with the power you have. Is J.D. Vance going to stand up? Let's say he really does. He's really in support of abortion rights. He really hates Trump. Is he really going to stand up against the entire party if he wins? If he's not doing it as a candidate, why would he do it when he wins? He would lose his seat immediately. He wants the power. That's why he's running. So it doesn't matter how he personally feels, even if he has all the right positions. What matters when you are in a position of power is what you do with that power. And that also applies to the media as well. It doesn't matter how people personally feel about issues. It matters what you do with the power that you have, how you use your platform. Because that's also often the defense. We were talking about Rogan earlier. The defense of Rogan. Oh, Rogan isn't really that extreme. You know, he had Bernie Sanders on once. He supports universal health care. But how often does he really advocate for those issues compared to how often he spouts right-wing bullshit? What matters is how you use your platform, how you use your power. Why would it matter how you personally feel if that isn't what you're putting out into the world on a regular basis? So J.D. Vance, just a terrible candidate. Tim Ryan, I wish there was a better Democrat here running against J.D. Vance. But that said, if you're in Ohio, I mean, the choice is obvious. Definitely Ryan over Vance, not even close. Let me see what else there is. I saw some reaction, or I saw that there was some reaction on Fox. I began to watch this, but didn't finish it. They are debating the debate that we just watched. Let's see where this goes.
Across that border where
the guy on the left, I believe, is the Democrat. So this guy talking right now with the red tie. And then this woman is a Republican. As is, I'm sure, the host of this show.
Are different terrains that can be secure. But listen, this is certainly a
Oh, yeah, I watch everything on like 2x speed. Slow down a bit.
serious issue. You point out those numbers, and they are horrifying when you see the number of people coming across. I think that's a direct result of a lot of the violence that they're fleeing, a lot of the hunger and famine that people are fleeing, a lot of the crime in these Northern Triangle countries that people are fleeing, coming out of COVID, and the desperation to cross a desert with your children over days-long journeys to get to the United States. We've got to do more when it comes to not just securing the border, but passing comprehensive immigration reform that's going to finally tackle this issue.
Yeah, I just want to move on now, if I can, to the midterms, because there's a huge Senate race going on in Ohio. There was a debate tonight between J.D. Vance and Tim Ryan. Here's what they said. Watch. Oh, by the way, that's the race. 46.2. J.D. Vance has a little bit of a lead there, still within the margin of error. And here's a little bit from the debate.
Let me just check. I want to check 538 because I was seeing it was way close. I thought Ryan was ahead in that race. Let's find out. The forecast or the polls? So far, Vance is favored, heavily favored to win this. 71 and 100. So one poll had Ryan up by 3. The rest, Vance is up. Man, how can somebody so dishonest as Vance? Vance is on camera recently shit-talking Trump. It's like, it's obvious the guy has no positions. He's just after power. But, I guess you can't blame people. You got to blame the media, who clearly, I guess, are not properly educating people on this. or whatever media they consume. Again, a big issue is the silos that people live in. So they don't even get to see what the criticisms are of their own candidate. But let's continue.
Debate, watch.
If you get raped, J.D. Vance and others are going to say you have to have that baby. State-mandated pregnancies for a rape victim? That is so far out of the mainstream, it's not even funny.
That poor girl was raped by an illegal alien, somebody that should have never been in this state in the first place.
So she should be forced to have the child. Like, well, how is that a defense?
Voted so many times against border wall funding, so many times for amnesty, Tim. If you had done your job, she would have never been raped in the first place.
Yeah, you can see, Aaron, they're talking about two of the top issues, right? You're talking about abortion and you're talking about the border. Your thoughts on how that race is shaping up?
I would expect to see J.D. Vance to start to take a further lead away from Tim Ryan for a number of reasons. This debate, I have to really applaud J.D. Vance. He prepped hard and he showed up time and again. He did not allow Tim Ryan to try and define his positions. He talked about the fact that he believes in reasonable exceptions. And in the case of that 10-year-old, he said that he would have said that that was an abortion that should have been allowed and that child should not have had to cross lines. But he brought it back to a much stronger point. And Tim Ryan had no excuse for his 20 years of failure. There's a lot of money coming into Ohio in this race. You should expect to hear about the economy, crime, immigration, China, things that are really affecting Ohioans in a way that J.D. Vance is relating with them. Tim Ryan came off as out of touch and unpersonable. And I think you will continue to see J.D. Vance to take more of a sizable lead in this race.
It's going to be close, Kevin. I mean, that's the bottom line here. It's within the margin of error. It is going to be close, and nobody doubts that. It could be pivotal. Your final thoughts?
Yeah, Tracy, I'm right there with you. I couldn't disagree with my dear friend Aaron Moore. I thought Tim Ryan had a great debate. He was personal. He took the fight to J.D. Vance over his extreme views, especially with regards to abortion, pointing out that rape to J.D. Vance is just an inconvenience. That speaks volumes to women in the Buckeye State, and it's certainly going to be a close race. It's about a 1.2% race right now, according to Real Clear Politics. It's going to be a dog.
You want me to slow it down? I don't think so. This is Fox News we're talking about here. We need to slow down. We don't really need to know the Fox News analysis. I was just curious what the media was talking about after the debate. But
fight. They've got one more debate before Election Day, and I can't wait to watch that one too.
Yeah, I know you liked you liked the Democrat in these races. You also said Blake Masters did very well. I mean, Bart Kelly did very well against Blake Masters last week in Arizona, and a lot of people beg to differ on that one, Kevin. Kevin, Aaron, great to see you both.
I love it, Trace.
Okay, whatever. They're treating it more like a sport, as they usually do, so it's not really surprising. Morning Joe. What was Old Man Joe saying here? In like 10 minutes? I'm not going to watch 10 minutes of this. There's no way. Okay, let's start with 1.25 and see if there's anything at all worth discussing here.
For U.S. Senate Congressman Tim Ryan joins us now.
Oh yeah, Ryan's all right. So he's going to be on talking about this thing.
Good morning, Congressman.
That he's in the election.
Congratulations, Law and Order. That was a really strong performance. I'm curious, though, how you felt it went last night, but also how the campaign is doing. Is the party giving you the support you need, and what do you think it will take to get it?
Selena Godmez says Dems focusing only on abortion is a mistake. They're not focusing only on abortion, but focusing on abortion is not a mistake at all, considering the vast majority of voters side with the Democratic position on that issue. So that's not going to hurt them. That's what sparked the turnaround for the midterms, was when Roe was overturned. So damn right, you better talk about that issue. Very important to talk about that issue. It definitely moves a lot of people and is going to move a lot of people out to vote who would normally stay home. So no, yes, don't make it, I guess, your entire platform. Talk more about other stuff, but that debate, we saw 2 clips. So they discussed other issues there as well. But abortion should, for sure, in every single Democratic race, be a major discussion.
Over the line in this final month.
Yeah, thanks, Mika. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, it was a fun night. I mean, there wasn't a crowd there or anything. It was just in the studio, so it was a little bit, muted. But I think we got our points across. We wanted to make sure we held his feet to the fire. We just see so many candidates who get away with some of the crap that they've been saying for the last however many months or years, really. And we held him account last night, and by all accounts, we won the debate. And got a lot of people wanting to help and support the campaign now. We're taking them on, as I said. Mitch McConnell gave him $40 million. Peter Thiel gave him 15. We're out here slogging. It's David versus Goliath, but I think we got a really, really good shot to win this thing.
Well, let me ask you: have the Democrats given you $40 million?
They have not. I didn't see that come in.
No, why not? I mean, this is an extraordinarily important race. I'm just curious: why are they letting Republicans and Peter Thiel buy this seat? Where are the Democrats? Why?
Well, it's mostly like Peter Thiel. We're talking about individuals here. Parties have to. They can't put everything on red or on black. They have to move their money around a little bit. Especially the way Democrats are, there has to be a lot more investment into states they normally ignore, as opposed to just one single Senate race. But yeah, the GOP is helped by having these massive billionaires like Peter Thiel just completely fund their races, and the media that they are consuming.
Why aren't the Democrats putting money into this race? Because the way I look at it, Nevada's going sideways. Pennsylvania's getting really close. It's really tight. I mean, if you look at trend lines, Dr. Oz, 1 second he's in a grocery store talking about crudité 20 points down, and now it's too close to call. Ohio is a critically important race because you have, and I'm just going to say this on the air, and by the way, JD, we invite you to come on our show. People have told me, Republican donors have told me he's the worst candidate they've ever been in touch with, the worst candidate they've ever held fundraisers for, the rudest candidate they've ever seen. He doesn't like campaigning, they tell me. He's lazy, and he doesn't look like he likes being out there. I don't bring that up to insult Butters. I have the greatest of respect for that Butters has gotten out there and campaigned. And by the way, JD, you're welcome on the show, but I'm serious. I'm underlining this point for national Democrats. Why does Mitch McConnell want to win this seat more than national Democrats?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I've as you know, and I've been on your show for years now, I've always expressed a level of frustration with the National Democratic Party, the disconnect of working class people. And here you have a blue collar candidate who's, in the last 2 public polls.
This is actually good for Ryan to be taking this position. Especially in Ohio, just to, be talking about how he is critical of the Democratic Party establishment. That's a popular position to have. So even though the criticism from Morning Joe, I don't think is completely accurate, again, you have to be aware of not putting all your money in one place. It makes sense for Tim Ryan to just run with it.
We've been up 3 points. We're traveling the whole state. We have Rob Portman's former chief of staff helping us with a huge Republicans for Ryan effort. Lots of 2-time Trump voters that are supporting us. And yet we still can't get the kind of the air support that J.D. Vance is getting. But look, make no mistake, we just had a huge fundraising haul. We raised $17 million. The national and state donor base are being very, very helpful. Low dollar donors. I get little notes, Joe, probably like you did when you ran. Someone that's on Social Security sends you a $10 check because that's all they can give. That's what's fueling this campaign. That's why it's exciting. I kind of like it a little bit. That we're David versus Goliath, because we're going to shock the world. And we are asking people to go to timforoh.com and chip in some money because that's what's going to make it fun. No one's saying we could win. They've been saying it for a year and a half. We're grinding it out. And we're going to knock this guy off because he's a complete fraud, as we proved last night. We'll prove it again next week at the debate. And we're going to, do the final quarter of play here.
Willie, I did get notes. I did get those little notes, but they were like, get off my lawn. Stop littering our neighborhood with your yard signs. They were everywhere.
Beat it, Scarborough. That's how you got their votes. You just annoyed them into submission.
Said, I will stop. Yes. I'll get out of your neighborhood.
It is good that Ryan's calling him a fraud. I think that's a good line of attack to be consistent on. Is there more to this? Maybe these two can laugh the whole time. All right, here we go.
And around the tinfoil hat on, and we're out here fighting on our own. He's raising money. He's help from the party. So, Congressman, you made the point last night at the debate, when you were talking about the ass kisser line that Donald Trump used to talk about J.D. Vance, that you had broken with Joe Biden, that you had broken with Nancy Pelosi and others. You, in fact, said last night that Joe Biden shouldn't run for president. We can talk about that. Republicans last night pointed to the fact that despite what you say, and you have come out publicly and said those things, you vote with Nancy Pelosi and you vote with Joe Biden almost 100% of the time. So what do you say to that?
Well, I said, look at what we voted for. The CHIPS Act has helped us land a $100 billion investment from Intel to manufacture semiconductors in Ohio. 7,000 union construction jobs to build it, 5,000 union construction jobs for the next 10 years. Look at the infrastructure bill, bipartisan. I was able working with.
I don't want to, when he faced up against J.D. Vance, it doesn't make all that much sense to be overly critical right now of Ryan until he wins and is a senator. But I did a video on the CHIPS Act. There's no guarantees in terms of where that money's actually going. These companies can just take the money and run. There's issues with, I'm sure, many of these votes, because there's issues generally with the Democratic Party. But when you have this is the issue in this system, when the other party is completely out of their fucking minds and are openly fascist. Voting is a tool. It's a sometimes you get to use it and vote for someone you really like and deserves your vote. It's fantastic. Often it's a defensive mechanism, and it's one of the few ways that people have in terms of having any effect at all on what goes on in society. So it is simply a tool, even if you're not the biggest fan of Tim Ryan, and I've criticized Ryan several times during his run for the Democratic nomination in 2020 was ridiculous, and he got completely destroyed in those debates, I think a couple times. Then again, he's also had good moments as well, and I've covered those too. So, it's important to take someone's career as a whole, and also the context that we are looking or analyzing him in, which right now is a race against J.D. Vance, who is kissing Trump's ass, and realize that, as the situation changes, then criticisms change, your focus changes. If he becomes a senator, focus is then going to be on, what is he actually fighting for? Who's he representing? I'm sure Tim Ryan is going to be your typical Democrat if he does win. So, those criticisms will come and will be deserved. But during an election, like a month to an election, the focus right now is ensuring that J.D. Vance does not increase the numbers in the Senate for Republicans.
With Sherrod Brown and others to get significant Buy American language into that bill. It's going to create 600,000 jobs in Ohio and get this Brent Spence Bridge we've been trying to get built in Cincinnati for a long time. You look at the Inflation Reduction Act, it goes all in on natural gas, which is going to be huge for Ohio. But it also, we saw a stream of investments happen after we passed that. General Motors is putting hundreds of millions of dollars into their transmission facility in Toledo because they're going all in on electric vehicles because they know the government now is significantly behind them. The old Lordstown plant that I've talked about my whole career was empty. They just announced Foxconn bought it.
Sam Stout says, cannot wait to vote out Sinema in Arizona in 2 years. If Sinema's still a Democrat by then, who knows what the hell her plan is? Because I don't know what she was thinking. The only way this helps her career is if she leaves politics or becomes a Republican. Because, assuming things have kept up and assuming she doesn't make a complete 180 in the next, year or so, she is getting destroyed in primary polling. But I don't know. I don't know what her plan is.
Just announced a fourth vehicle. There's a truck, 2 cars, and a tractor that are going to be manufactured in the old General Motors Lordstown plant. We're talking about thousands of jobs. So what are we voting for here is the question. So, of course, I'm going to support the things that are good from Ohio, but on the student loan piece, on some of the other initiatives, I'm taking on the administration. I think that's what Ohio wants.
All right, Congressman, we're now to lightning round. We've got a couple other questions for you, but we don't have a couple of minutes. Mark.
Well, we do.
Yeah.
Go, Mark. Go.
Yeah, thanks, Congressman. A lot of Democratic voters are perpetually frustrated seeing Republicans win races that Democrats should have been able to win. So do you think this is connected to this generational change? I'm still stuck on this fact that the party isn't helping your campaign in the way they could be. Is that, part of the reason for this need for generational change that you were talking about last night? Help us understand that.
Yeah, I don't understand it, but I think the focus on the economic issues here in places like Ohio are really critically important. We lost that brand. When I grew up, it used to be Democrats for the working people and Republicans were for the rich people. And that's when we held Congress and we had significant support. So
Tim's got to ditch that Dave Rubin Globe. Not a good look. Is that on Dave Rubin's set too? That's funny.
And getting back on this economic message, building stuff, taking on China, manufacturing, these clean tech jobs of the future. I think that's where we need to be. If we hit that sweet spot along with Roe v. Wade and a couple of these other things, I think we can put together another majority.
So, Congressman, we were just talking about what issues are animating voters this fall. In a recent poll in your state in Ohio, say 15% threats to democracy, 13% abortion, but a whopping 41% the economy. So by far the biggest issue there. What are you hearing day to day on the trail of people talking about the economy? And have you seen a flood of new voters that Democrats thought would come this fall in the wake of the Supreme Court decision?
We are seeing a lot of energy around Roe v. Wade, but I kind of feel that a lot of that's baked in already, like including like Republican pro-choice women or your dads or brothers who think this is the largest governmental overreach in the history of our lifetime, as Joe mentioned earlier, taking rights away. Like people know.
We got a Herschel Walker clip coming up that I have not seen. I saw this going around and I just have not watched it because I need to like prep myself mentally to lose brain cells. But we'll get there in a second.
About that. Yeah, you got to communicate a little bit with them. but most people are still living paycheck to paycheck. And if you're talking about issues other than their pocketbook, you look disconnected. And I think that's why we're doing so well here, is because we have the economic argument, but we're also talking about freedom and personal liberty of women. You can talk about both. It's a false choice. Economic freedom and personal freedom are still freedom. And so running under the banner of freedom, America, that this is a great place and we got to rebuild the American middle class.
I think it makes sense for him to take up the freedom line. The idea that Republicans have owned that word is so insane when they're the ones for restricting what you do in your private life. Yet they're for freedom. Come on now. They're for freedom of corporations to ruin your life. That's what their freedom is. But Ryan here, I think he's making a good argument.
Class shouldn't be hard to do. And so again, we're taking on everybody here. We don't have the national support that we want. We're asking people to help us. We got 350,000 low dollar donors. 95% of our contributions are under $100. So we're asking people to go to timforoh.com and chip in a few bucks for us so we can keep this thing going and shock the world.
All right.
They're really making a big deal here of the lack of support from the Democratic Party. I need to read more about this because if they really had the money and they're not giving it to him for some reason, that would surprise me, considering Tim Ryan he's not ruffling any feathers, within the party. He's a fairly standard. His talking points may sound a little different, and he tries to play that economic card a little more. But when it comes down to it, he is your standard Democratic person. So, congressperson. So I don't see how. I don't know why they would be refusing to support him for some reason. But now let's get to Herschel Walker. So I think there are a couple of clips because I think I saw a part of one. I don't think this is the one that I saw. But let's see what this is all about.
As they've been saying, something is better.
By the way, if you have headphones on, for some reason this is coming through mono, only on the left channel. I don't know why. I didn't record this. Again, why are people weird? If you're going to record C-SPAN, record both channels or post the video in stereo. But I have to fix all this shit when I edit my videos, and this makes it all that much tougher. But hopefully you can hear it.
As they've been saying, something is better somewhere else. And I'm here to tell you it's not. So I've been telling this little story about this bull out in the field with 6 cows. And 3 of them are pregnant. So he got something going on. But all he cared about is kept his nose against the fence, looking at 3 other cows that didn't belong to him. Now all he had to do is eat grass. But no. He thought something was better somewhere else. So he decided, I want to get over there. So one day he measured that fence up. And he said, I think I can jump this. So that day came where he got back. And he got back, and as he took off running.
What the hell? What is this? What is this? And the audio is so low that I don't know if people are even hearing this right now. I can't help it. I don't have an audio thing on this. I used to have an audio app on Chrome. I'm not sure where it went. But this is the story. I've been telling this little story about this bull out in the field with 6 cows, and 3 of them are pregnant. So he's got something going on. What? I struggle to even listen to the rest of this because I don't even know where we are right now. We are 40 seconds in, and I don't know where I am in this story. I don't know what's going on. So let's see if I could find a different Herschel Walker video where there's actually something to react to. Because right now I'm just holding my head. And hold up. Actually, I'll save this for. Saw something else. Show you it in a second. It's a different topic. But let me see if I could find a different Herschel Walker clip because that was just a little too ridiculous for me. All right, let's look here. Okay, there's the cow one.
Something is better somewhere.
Oh, here we go. This is a better version. Maybe we can hear this. All right, here we go.
And I'm
Here
here
is
to
the
tell-
story. Only a minute long. Don't worry. We will struggle through it. And let's try to. I will try to make sense of what he is talking about. I will try my best.
As they've been saying, something is better somewhere else. And I'm here to tell you it's not. So I've been telling this little story about this bull out in the field with 6 cows. And 3 of them are pregnant. So you know he got something going on. But all he cared about is kept his nose against the fence, looking at 3 other cows that then belonged to him. Now all he had to do is eat grass. But no. He thought something was better somewhere else. So he decided, I want to get over there. So one day he measured that fence up. And he said, I think I can jump this. So that day came where he got back. And he got back, and as he took off running, he dove over that fence, and his belly got cut up onto the bottom. But as he made it over on the other side, he shook it off and got so excited about it. And he ran to the top of that hill, but when he got up there, he realized they were bulls too. So what I'm telling you, don't think something is better somewhere else. This is the greatest country in the world today.
Okay. At first, I thought he was trying to make the comparison of like, don't think that Raphael Warnock is better than me. No, I'm great. Vote for, but it was an argument about America. But, what if you apply this story to this race? Then the way you would apply the story is, hey, you may think Herschel Walker is a better candidate. He may seem like a worth chasing after, worth jumping the fence for, but no, stay with Warnock. Warnock is the guy that you have already. He's reliable. You know him. You could apply that story to this race as an as a vote against Herschel Walker, but he's applying it to America. Is Raphael Warnock is a part of his campaign discussing how things are better in other countries? I mean, it should be, but I don't think that's what his campaign is. So I don't even know why this would come up. This is the way he's telling the story and the way he means it, the way he explains it. He is encouraging ignorance. It's good to be stupid. It's good to not look elsewhere and think, how can we improve things here? No. Stick with what you have. Don't question anything. And just accept that reality sucks and your life will not improve. I don't know what is going on. This guy is... I covered his lies about his abortion, and likely more than one abortion, last week. And he's not even a good liar. Like, Republicans, the one thing they have to be at least not maybe good at, because none of them are good at this, but competent at is lying. Because that's most of what they do. And Walker isn't even good at that. So I'm not even sure. You really have to be completely brainwashed. It has to be just all about how much you love this guy as a football player in your state. He was, this big hero in the state for forever. It has to be willful blindness and or a complete attachment to Trump for you to vote for him. And really, I think that's what it's coming down to, is if you are a Republican, you're not going to move over. This is really about, can Democrats bring out enough voters in the state for Warnock to keep his seat? Or is the vote going to be suppressed? And is gerrymandering going to do enough to, get this guy to win? I don't know. But it really is an ongoing problem that they're just complete lunatics. All right. What else do I have saved here? I saw this today. Former Starbucks manager tells NLRB he was ordered to punish pro-union workers. So I've covered several Starbucks stories now. The NLRB ruling, actually last I checked, I think my last story was they ruled against Starbucks in, caught breaking labor law. Let me pull this one up to remind myself. Here we go. So, Starbucks illegally withheld raises from union workers, labor board says. And I think also in this story, or maybe it was a different piece of the story. But, yeah, here we go. Enough is enough, declares Sanders after NLRB says Starbucks targeted union workers. So the NLRB already said this, that they targeted union workers. And so this is really just, I guess, an update, basically. This manager, actually ordered to punish pro-union workers. But man, the resilience of this movement, especially within Starbucks, is incredible. The list provided to Alman included workers that the company had determined supported the unionization campaign, which has now spread from Buffalo to 330 stores in 38 states, with 248 stores so far voting in favor of joining a union. Just incredible. Think of how quickly. This is within isn't most of this within a year? That is just wild. This is one of the few things, honestly, that really give me hope that there is a lot more awareness of workers' rights. There is definitely more of a push for unions, and including support in polling. Let me see if I can bring this up. I think it was Gallup polling on unionization. It was Gallup or Pew Research. It was Gallup. Here we go. U.S. approval of labor unions at highest point since 1965. Look at this. Now it's 71. Look how low it was in 2009 when people could have really used unions. But 71 now. That growth. Oh, look at that. Interesting. It was going down. Then 2016 happened. What happened in 2016, I wonder? Bernie ran for president, helped a little bit, of course. Look, I'm not going to say Bernie's the reason this is happening, but he definitely brought this into the public eye a little more than it had been discussed. And then the workers on the ground ran with it. And, they obviously put the work in their workplaces to get to where we are today. But Bernie, I think, largely sparked the idea back then and the importance of labor rights. And look at that growth. So really, really good to see that. And I think it will continue. So this gives me a little hope for the future. People know that they deserve a lot more in the workplace, higher wages, safer workplaces, more agency over their lives, over their hours. And even regardless of anything else, even in great workplaces, it's still important for workers to have their own voice and for them to be able to collectively have that voice to have some say over their workplace. So good to see that the NLRB as well, under Biden, is actually going after these companies for the garbage they are doing. Good, good, good. Some good news. What else do I have saved here? Oh, I watched this. Can I watch this on? I'm not sure I can watch this on here because it's an Apple TV thing. Probably take me down. But did you see this? Jon Stewart did a really good job pushing back against this anti-trans trash. And actually, Jake Tapper, like the day after that story broke, or that video came out, all of a sudden, he as well maybe took some notes and used a bit of Stewart's strategy here. So check out Tapper, who is largely terrible and still terrible, but doing a better job here on questioning Glenn Youngkin over this garbage.
Governor, this policy could be seen. I could see very easily how it excludes parents. Look, Here's a question for you. The American Academy of Pediatrics says these kinds of laws about bathrooms and excluding people, ignoring their gender identity. They say, the American Academy of Pediatrics says these kind of laws can increase the risk of depression, anxiety, and even suicide among transgender youth. Did you talk to any transgender youth when coming up with this policy?
Yes, so we've had lots of interactions across the administration. And let me just back up. What we're not saying
That means no.
is that there is no accommodation. What we're saying is parents have to be engaged in that decision.
No, what we're saying is we're going to tell you what you can and can't do. Again, the party of freedom, saying you can't do this with your own body. You don't have control over your own life. You have no say. We will tell you what is right and what is wrong.
And if a child and their parent, along with administrators and teachers, choose to have accommodations for that child, they'll be granted. And see, this is where I constantly...
That's not their that's a lie. That's not their position at all.
I did read the policy, but it sounds like you're excluding parents that might be supportive of their child going to the bathroom or joining a sports team that is in alignment with their gender identity.
Well, certainly not. If parents actually want their child to be able to change a pronoun or their name or use a bathroom, if parents choose that, then legally that's what the schools will do. With regards to sports teams, this is a different issue. And I do believe that it's unfair for girls to have biological boys.
Oh my God, we're having this shit again. Yeah, because we're also concerned about, high school sports. Sports in school is about friendship, about working together, about being accepted. That's what that's about. You can have a separate conversation about, Olympic sports. And even then, there already is stuff on the books about that. And actual biologically born women have been banned from certain sports based on their testosterone levels. Even again, that's a whole other conversation and it's a lot more complicated. But at the very least, when we're talking about high school, elementary school, to not allow people who identify with how they identify be able to engage in the sports they want to engage in is just, it's cruel is what it is. It's inhumane. And this is their position, and this continues to be their position, yet they try to claim they are being reasonable, yet they are restricting the ability for these people to live how they choose to live their lives. Again, they have, isn't there anything else this party could be fighting for, could be trying to do if they actually cared about people's, lives? But they have nothing to offer. So it's all about fear mongering. It's all about using the fear that some people have around things that they don't understand, the unknown. This is what politics has been about for ages. The fear of the unknown, use that to their advantage to try and win elections. That's all this is about. So if they're going to throw, several hundred trans kids under the bus to try and win an election, that's what they're going to do. They don't give a shit. But I wish I could play some of this. Maybe I can. Maybe if there's a copyright strike, I'll just cut it out later. So if you're here live watching, then check this out.
The state of Arkansas stepping.
And by the way, when you're watching this, you can see Tapper may have watched this video because it's definitely, the media has been terrible. One of the big messages coming out of this clip is Jon Stewart, again, showcasing just how terrible the media is in pushing back against this anti-trans garbage that comes from politicians, because he easily refutes these points here.
In to override parents, physicians, psychiatrists, endocrinologists who have developed guidelines. Why would you override those guidelines?
Well, I think it's important that all of those physicians, all of those experts, for every single one of them, there's an expert that says we don't need to allow children to be able to take those medications. That there are many instances where...
But that's not true. It's not for everyone. There's one. These are the established...
Well, I don't know that that's not true. I don't know that...
Then why would you pass a law then if you don't know that that's true? Wouldn't you?
Well, I know that there are doctors, and that we had plenty of people come and testify before our legislature who said that we have 98% of the young people who have gender dysphoria, that they are able to move past that, and once they have the help that they need, no longer suffer from gender dysphoria. 98%
Wow.
without that medical treatment.
That's an incredibly made-up figure. That doesn't comport with any of the studies or documentation that exists from these medical organizations. What medical association are you talking about of these doctors?
Well, we have all of that in our legislative history, and we'll be glad to provide that to you. I don't have the name of that off the top of my head. I know it's something that
You don't have the name of the organization that you're
off the
getting
top
that
of my
information?
head.
Oh, okay.
But yes, we have all of that cited in all of our briefs.
You're suggesting that protecting children means overriding the recommendations of the American Medical Association, the American Association of Pediatrics, the Endocrine Society.
We don't have enough data. We don't have enough to show that these drugs are effective and that these children are better off, and that we should encourage these.
Or it's not enough for you. Let me.
By the way, there are countless, I did a video on this recently. There are countless studies showcasing how gender-affirming care is incredibly important and has shown significant improvement in the livelihoods of trans people, because they're able to actually be who they are. And once they are allowed to be who they are, then yes, the vast majority of them get out of the deep depression that they are in, because it is largely situational depression. It's the situation that they are put in, that they're forced to be in, because they are not allowed to be who they are. I want to see if I could, I'm going to keep playing this, but I want to search if I could find, see if I can find those studies I used in a recent video.
Let me try and flip it a different way and see if maybe this can help. In Arkansas, if you have pediatric cancer, and obviously we all want to protect children, I think we established that earlier, whose guidelines do you follow for pediatric cancer?
Well, I think if my child, who is 4, if I was faced with that terrible decision, then I would be speaking to my doctor. And if my doctor recommended something that I disagreed with, then I would get a second opinion. And that's what I believe that these parents need to make sure that they're encouraged to get numerous opinions when they're talking about an irreversible step.
You're not letting them. The state's not saying get another opinion. What they're saying is you can't. What you're actually saying is the opposite.
No, that's actually not at all what the state said. The state simply said that you cannot perform these procedures, and so parents should get another opinion, and children should want to have another opinion.
But that's not.
Because again, these are 9, 10, 11, 12
So if your child is suffering from pediatric cancer, and the state comes in and says to you, they recommend chemotherapy, but we're not going to let you do that. You can't. We think you should get a different opinion, and here's the organization we think you should get the opinion from. They're not the mainstream, but they're an organization. So that's who you have to be treated by. Does that sound like something you would accept?
I think that's a very extreme example. That's not at all.
That's the great way to, maybe one of the best ways to refute this garbage, is that on every other issue, you listen to the mainstream medical information, because that is peer-reviewed research. There is a basis for their positions. Yet on this one issue, you say, no, we may listen to you for cancer treatment, but when it comes to this issue, no, we will not listen to you. Why? Well, because we have our own experts that say differently. Well, then why don't you have your own experts when it comes to cancer, when it comes to other illnesses, when it comes to literally everything else? This is clearly all about fear-mongering and attempting to use this as a wedge issue for people that are just scared of the unknown. That's what this is. And it is really sad that a marginalized group is being thrown under the bus for their political gain.
All in line with what we're talking about. We're not saying that at some point, because when you have cancer, it literally is, and particularly pediatric cancer, and having friends that have lost children to pediatric cancer, having a 4-year-old, I'm sure.
I've got some bad news for you. Parents with children who have gender dysphoria have lost children to suicide and depression.
They absolutely
because it's acute. And so these mainstream medical organizations have developed guidelines through peer-reviewed data and studies. And through those guidelines, they've improved mental health outcomes. So I'm confused why you follow AMA guidelines and AAAP guidelines for all other health issues, in Arkansas because we checked, but not for this.
It's simply saying, let those young people who are facing gender confusion and dysphoria, allow them to become adults and to make that decision. Allow a child to be a child.
So here's where we have our crossroads. You've made the determination that protecting these children means not giving them access to the guidelines and care that have been designed by medical and mental health professionals for children expressing gender dysphoria. And I'm asking you again, what are your qualifications to step in and say, no, keeping you from that care is protecting you. You've made that determination.
Well, these are irreversible decisions that these children at these young ages are making.
Chemo, also an irreversible decision. Like this idea that you get to decide on this issue, yet every other issue, the experts decide. It's clear they're using this. I'll finish this, but I want to show you what I was discussing. So this is, I have so many tabs here, Jesus Christ. Just so I can know where the hell I am. Let me close a bunch of these. All right. Transgender children supported in their identity show positive mental health. And where is my update here? Here's the other one. There are 72 studies. 72 studies that this research is based on. But we don't have enough research. Yet there are 72 studies on this, at least as of this article. Likely more since this article. But it backs up everything here. And it's this shouldn't have to be explained. You allow someone to be who they are, they're happier. That's the explanation. This is not complicated. But they try to make it a lot more complicated than it actually is. And let's finish this last minute here.
Or that their
They're not
parents are
making the decision. You're making it sound like a 9-year-old walks into a doctor's office and says, give me some testosterone. And the doctor goes, oh, thank God, because we're wanting to create an army of transgenders because we're crazy. And they go right in like...
No, we passed a law to protect the children in Arkansas, and I think that's what is important.
Again, the medical community disagrees with you that
Well,
that's
not all of the
protecting
medical
children.
community.
Who doesn't?
We have had experts testify here in Arkansas.
Okay, from what medical organizations?
Well, we have all of those in our briefs, and I apologize that I wasn't prepared to have a Supreme Court argument today in front of you, but we are...
This isn't a Supreme Court. This is defending your position. How do you not think, hey, maybe to properly defend my ridiculous position, I should have these experts ready in a note, something, to bring them up in this conversation? You really thought you would just get through this conversation just by giving your opinion the entire time? Like, these people are so disgusting. And I tend to think that she believes her own bullshit. Just based on how this conversation is going. She almost seems confused, like shocked that Jon Stewart is pushing back here, because she is so used to smelling her own farts that she has no idea what the reality actually is. But again, that isn't a defense. That's understanding what we're dealing with here, how crazy these people are. But that's the whole clip. Really good. And you could see some of that, as I said, some of that, permeate in the Jake Tapper interview as well. Hopefully some media figures are learning a little bit how to push back against this trash. This also came up. I saw this. William Shatner on his Blue Origin flight to space. Quote, it was among the strongest feelings of grief I've ever encountered. I want to read this because I find this to be something worth thinking about. Why is it cutting off the word? I'd thought that going into space would be the ultimate catharsis of that connection I'd been looking for between all living things, that being up there would be the next beautiful step to understanding the harmony of the universe. In the film Contact, when Jodie Foster's character goes to space and looks out into the heavens, she lets out an astonished whisper. Quote, they should have sent a poet. I had a different experience because I discovered that the beauty isn't out there. It's down here with all of us. Leaving that behind made my connection to our tiny planet even more profound. It was among the strongest feelings of grief I've ever encountered. The contrast between the vicious coldness of space and the warm nurturing of Earth below filled me with overwhelming sadness. Every day we are confronted with the knowledge of further destruction of Earth at our hands, the extinction of animal species, of flora and fauna, things that took 5 billion years to evolve, and suddenly we will never see them again because of the interference of mankind. It filled me with dread. My trip to space was supposed to be a celebration. Instead, it felt like a funeral. I found these words to be moving, because you often hear of how, amazing it is to see, well, obviously how amazing it would be to see Earth from space. But this is actually something you also hear. I think it was like a documentary or some video I watched, and it was astronauts discussing their first time seeing Earth from space and how it had a similar effect on them. And it made them just see this Earth as this living, breathing thing that we have to protect, and we're not protecting it. So it maybe offers people some perspective. Now, I don't know if it had this effect on Jeff Bezos or, any other billionaire who went to space. But it's, I don't know. It's one of those things that it's hard for us to know what needs to be done to affect people in power to wake up to the realization of what has to happen for us to turn this thing around and keep the planet going. And honestly, I think a lot of people simply don't care. I think if you have your money, if you're living what you view as a great life, you're incredibly greedy, it's all about you and your consumption, and you think, oh, well, I got lots of money for my kids, then you feel like you're protected, that even if, some disaster happens, that you'll be safe because you'll be able to get away from it. And that's how I think a lot of these people are living, how a lot of them justify it. I think they are aware of what's happening, and they simply don't care enough to change it because they're already happy, they're good. Why do anything to mess with it? And that gets back, you can argue that gets back to the inherent issues with capitalism and what it incentivizes, as opposed to, maybe thinking of society more collectively and how we can improve things for everyone. And maybe don't have winners and losers, but have a society that actually cares about each other and lifts each other up and worries about those that are, the worst off, and does something to try and change that. But we don't live in that system. And getting there, I think, takes a lot more work on our part in terms of being a little more craven, being a little more, we need power, right? Like, nothing will change unless we have power. And you don't get power unless you're a little more angry and try to, maneuver a little better into getting that power. Because those with the money are always going to win out as long as the system incentivizes those with more money winning elections and being not even just elections, but deciding generally how society moves forward. So we have to be a little more aware of the power that we have collectively to work against some of that, which is, again, why, going back to labor rights and unions, why that gives me a lot of hope, because it shows people that, hey, there is another path here. There is potential for a better life if we do work together, if we do have a collective voice and can rely on each other to do that. All right. Let me see what else I got saved. This was interesting. So, Julian Assange's wife tore apart John Bolton. Let's check this out. I think I watched half of this. I had a lot of things going on, so it's like a lot of half videos I've watched. So let's watch all of it. But from what I saw, this was pretty good.
extradition should go forward. And when he gets to the United States, he'll get due process here. And I hope he gets at least 176 years in jail for what he did.
Stella?
Well, of course, Ambassador Bolton is kind of the ideological nemesis of Julian. He has, during his time for the Bush administration and later the Trump administration, sought to undermine the international legal system, ensure that the U.S. is not under the International Criminal Court's jurisdiction. And if it was, Mr. Bolton might, in fact, be prosecuted under the ICC. He was one of the chief cheerleaders of the Iraq War, which Julian then exposed through these leaks. So he has a conflict of interest here.
Ambassador Bolton?
Well, that's ridiculous. I have an opinion. So does Assange's wife. I guess we both get to speak them. You know, I think that what she fears.
It's not just opinion. You had power, and you did terrible things with that power. So yeah, opinions are one thing. When you actually have power and help to destroy the world with your power, it's a little different than sharing an opinion. Someone said, turn it up. It's as high as it can possibly go. Someone else said, do you still take super chats? You should be able to send me a super chat. If it isn't letting you, that is a tech issue. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. But yes, of course, I take super chats. If they aren't working, you can send them through what's it called? There's a link below. I'm forgetting what it's called, but there's a link there as well to send money in and a chat with it.
Is being brought to the United States and having Assange put under trial. If he's innocent, she can at least show reasonable doubt that he's not guilty, he'll go free. What's she worried about?
I guess what she's worried about is a fair trial, because it's pretty clear.
Streamlabs, that's what it is. Tip at Streamlabs. That is the link below the video as well. You can send a chat there. I can check those if for some reason super chats aren't working.
She's worried about is a fair trial, because it's pretty clear what the attitude towards him is.
Well, let her say
a large number of Americans.
That's fine. Let her say Julian Assange cannot get a fair trial in America. Let her say it.
Okay.
Well, he cannot get a fair trial in America because he is being prosecuted under the Espionage Act, and he cannot bring a public interest defense.
Yeah. Correct. Well, it's good to see, I wish that went on. It's good to see Bolton, you know, in a rare moment actually get criticized on air. All right, so sorry, I'm logging into my Streamlabs account. That should let me read any chats that may come through there. But our super chats were not working because YouTube sucks. If that is the case. YouTube is trash. This is a fact. It's unfortunately what I have to deal with. YouTube is my boss. I have no real boss, but I do have a boss. Their name is YouTube. Sorry, opening this up. Confusing tabs behind the scenes, but whatever. All right. What else? What else? What is this? Okay, I have a Matt Walsh clip saved. I don't even want to. I can't. That guy is so disingenuous. It's working. Daniel, thank you for your super chat. Mary says, "Hey David, did you cover Fetterman and the ableist NBC journalist?" I did not. I was seeing some things about that. Let me look this up. Maybe I'll do a proper video on this. But is this it? That's so weird. I open up Twitter and this story pops up. This tweet pops up immediately at the top. I think this is what you're talking about. What are the chances? It's like it's reading my voice and analyzing it and serving me up these links. Tata Jedi says Alex Jones is having a hard time right now. Verdict is coming in. Sad. LOL. Yeah, there's another Alex Jones trial going on. I have not covered that one at all, but hopefully, you know, he gets what's coming to him as he already has. Let's check this. So Dasha Burns, is this the interviewer? Yes. Using closed captioning. So, a couple of senators, I believe in the past year or so, had strokes. They are still senators. People have disabilities. FDR was in a wheelchair while he was president. Won 4 terms. This, yes, Fetterman had a stroke. He is having some issue right now, understanding people and speaking. He is still recovering from the stroke. He needs a little help in terms of closed captioning to be able to have these conversations live. What is the problem? Have his positions changed? Is he a different person now? Is he lying about something? Lying about his record? He's the same politician, just that he is recovering from a stroke. But apparently they were hypercritical of him for having to use another device or closed captioning to be able to have this conversation. So I have not watched this clip. Let's watch this.
Another pivotal Senate race in Pennsylvania.
Look at that. Audio is actually high. There you go. All happy now? You got your loud audio.
Yeah, now considered a toss-up. Our Dasha Burns spoke with Democrat John Fetterman in his first in-person sit-down interview since he suffered a stroke. And Dasha, this was not a typical candidate interview.
No, Lester, because of his stroke, Fetterman's campaign required closed captioning technology for this interview to essentially read our questions as we ask them. And Lester, in small talk before the interview without captioning, it wasn't clear he was understanding our conversation. Can voters trust that you will be able to do this job on day one?
Yeah, of course.
This is Pennsylvania Democratic Senate candidate John Fetterman's first in-person sit-down interview since a stroke sidelined him from the campaign trail for months.
That auditory processing where I'll hear someone speaking, but sometimes I'll be able to be precise on what exactly that they're saying. I use captioning.
His campaign required that he be allowed to use a transcription program on his computer during our interview.
I always thought I was pretty empathetic, emphatic. I think I was very, empathetic. That's an example of the stroke, empathetic. Yeah. I always thought I was very empathetic before having a stroke. But now after having that stroke, I really understand, much more.
I'm trying to think, have I had a stroke? Because, I have problems all the time with saying the correct word or pronunciation. Can I not run for Senate now? I want to see where this segment goes, but so far, there's a big focus on this for some reason. It's like John Fetterman, it wasn't clear that he could move around without a wheelchair. It appears in some other time, it would be about, someone who needs a wheelchair to move around. Yeah, people have disabilities. Doesn't mean they can't function and be human and be politicians and do a job. This is, so far, I'm going to stay open-minded, but so far they seem to almost be critical of the fact that he is still recovering from a stroke.
Or kind of the challenges that Americans have day in and day out.
So you say you're on the road to full recovery, but right now, voters really have to take your word for it. We've asked for your medical records. We've asked to have a conversation with someone from your medical team, to interview your physician. You've declined those requests. Why?
Well, I feel like we have been very transparent in a lot of different ways. When our doctor has already given a letter saying that I'm able to serve and to be running.
I mean, respectfully, that letter from your physician, that was 6 months ago.
Why is this the whole conversation? It's, again, it's one thing if you're a complete fucking moron like Donald Trump is. And, there's a reason to be critical of a total lunatic. John Fetterman, not a lunatic, not a moron, has just a speech issue at the moment because of his stroke. That is the problem. He's getting by with this closed captioning. How does this impact his ability to serve at all? This is pretty terrible. How they are so focused on this, on a disability.
Don't voters deserve to know your status now?
Being in front of thousands and thousands of people and having interviews and getting around all across Pennsylvania, that gives everybody and the voters decide, if they think that it's really the issue.
Polls show Fetterman's lead is shrinking against Republican Dr. Mehmet Oz. It's now a toss-up race that could determine control of the Senate. Republicans focusing on crime. In particular, Fetterman's votes on the parole board.
Fetterman says he's trying to get as many criminals out of prison as he can,
including votes in favor of paroling convicted murderers.
Are you soft on crime?
Are they? This is unbelievable. I covered how full of shit these claims are. This is NBC News. You can refute these things yourself with some basic research. How are you presented? This is everything wrong with the media. We have no opinions, not opinions. We have no facts at all. This side says this side says this. What's the truth? I don't know. I'm just the news with millions of dollars, not utilizing any of it to educate anybody. If I have the resources, me, an individual, has the resources to refute Dr. Oz's bullshit, you, NBC News, have the resources to refute this bullshit. Oh my God, the framing, everything about this segment is insane.
Of course not. I'm actually effective on crime, and I believe in second chances, and I've run on that record.
Meanwhile, Fetterman going after Dr. Oz on abortion rights.
NBC News didn't correct any of the bullshit. Oz attacked Fetterman over two people who were wrongly convicted. Fetterman hired two people to his campaign, brothers, who were wrongly convicted. They got out because they were wrongly convicted. Oz attacked Fetterman as being in support of murderers because he hired those two people who were wrongly convicted of murder. This is something that could easily be refuted in 10 seconds in this segment, and they don't address it at all. This is disgusting. This woman is fucking terrible.
Dr. Oz likes to make fun of me that I might miss a word, but he's missed 2 words, and that is a yes or no on the national abortion ban. If you're going to be our next senator, you have to give the answer.
Lester, Fetterman told us he is committed to debating Dr. Oz on October 25th, where he will also be using closed captioning.
Wow. It is amazing. I was going to say it's amazing who they hire, but they hire these people because they're fucking morons. Like, that woman's hired because she's fucking stupid. She isn't hired to do good work. She's hired because she's an idiot. They want people like this. It's unbelievable. They want you to have just a complete neutral position, which is not objectivity. Objectivity is, what are the facts? Let me tell you the facts. Neutrality is, what does this person say? What does this person say? What's the truth? I don't know. I'm a moron. And that was that entire segment. Putting aside the obvious disgusting nature of the vast majority of that segment, which was just anti-disability, anti-anyone that has a disability. Insane. What's her name again? Dasha Burns. Garbage. Garbage. All right. I saw some chats. Let me grab these chats. I have a hard out in about 20 minutes. So I'll be out of here by then. But let me grab some things here. Gordon says, I'm late, but I finally caught you live. Love your work. Hope to see you on the watch list soon. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not doing a lot of appearances right now. I keep getting sick. My son keeps getting sick. So occasionally, often, I'll have to randomly stay home. And the last time I was supposed to be on the watch list, that day, I had to take care of him because he was sent home because he was sick, and I couldn't make it. So things are too unpredictable, and I'm just busy all the time, that doing appearances is not something I really need to saddle myself with at the moment. And you can see me here. I'm live right now. Why do I have to be on a different place? Just if you miss me, go to this channel and you see me, and I'm right here. So, at some point when our health gets better, things get a little more stable and maybe I'm a little less busy all the time, I'll do a little more appearances. But for the short term, I don't see much of that happening. Ariok says, vote. Please help your fellow citizens by voting. Help get the vote out by sending postcards and letters. For more, see Vote Forward or Swing Left websites. John says, accountability for BSers. Ohio vote done. Thumbs up. Justin says, when the news is covering Fetterman the way they are, it's like they purposely want to pull the country back to the center right as soon as it gets a tad left. So frustrating and counter-progressive. Oh, 100%. I mean, all you have to do is watch the coverage during 2016 against Bernie Sanders, watch it in 2020 against Bernie. It was constant. If there is any indication at all that people are becoming a little more aware of their place in society and who's at fault and who should be held accountable, then you begin seeing the propaganda. Now, I'm not sure. I don't think this segment on NBC was that. I really just think this person's an idiot. And this is because this is how news is. This is how they normally cover politics. This isn't out of the ordinary. This is what they normally do. They normally have no positions at all, or not positions again. They normally have no facts at all. It's about what does this person say? And then I'm going to question you based on what your opponent said, as opposed to looking at facts and questioning you over that. Look, it's fine to be critical of Fetterman on his positions. Bring up his position on Israel. A terrible position on Israel. His only terrible position that I've seen. Just terrible. But they're not going to do that because that's the position that is the mainstream. The mainstream position is give the right-wing Israeli government whatever the hell they want, let them bomb and kill as many Palestinians as they want. We will question nothing. That's fine. And all politicians in support of that, they're perfectly fine. But anyone that bucks the trend, like Rashida Tlaib or Bernie Sanders or AOC, if they question, then they're the problem, and we'll question them and hammer them over that because they're no longer they no longer are voicing what we consider to be the mainstream position. So that's how news operates. It's they react to what is different as opposed to what is right, what is wrong, what is best for people, what is best for society. It's more like, hey, this is a different thing. This person's position is different, so they're wrong, or we're going to question them and hammer them over their position because it's not the mainstream anymore. But there is so much wrong with news. And I also question who watches this. Who watches NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt? Like, honestly. Just in terms of, yeah, I guess people watch it. I'm sure more watch that than me. But who are these people? What do they look like? What are their lives? What do they do for a living? What is a normal day in the life of a NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt watcher? Because I just don't know, I don't know what this audience is. I guess it has to be people between the ages of mostly 60 and 90. That's my guess. Again, I have people in that age bracket that watch this show. You people are great. But the vast majority of your generation is not on YouTube watching left-wing shows. So because I don't it has to be, I don't know, suburban voter, Democratic suburban voter watching NBC Nightly News. That's all I can really think. Justin says, by the way, when I say center right, I'm acknowledging we are much further right than that. Yes. Thank you, Justin, for your very kind super chats. What else here? Just looking in my saved notes. So I didn't cover this because I had other stuff to cover, and I didn't think this stood out that much. But this was from a debate between Mark Kelly and Masters, and here is this conversation.
But my opponent, remember what he has said. I mean, he supports a national abortion ban. I just told
that
you I didn't.
criminalizes, you're going to get your chance, that criminalizes this decision. He has said, and this isn't like years ago, he has said very recently that he wants to punish the doctors. He's called abortion demonic, a religious sacrifice. I don't even know what that means, folks. But
I'm sorry, there's breaking news. What's happening? What's happening on news? Alex Jones news? I'm seeing Alex Jones stuff. Alex Jones is trending. Do I have to? Do I have to care? Absolutely Okay, let me just read this. Here we go. So I guess this happened a half an hour ago. Absolutely astronomical figures in this InfoWars lawsuit out of Connecticut. Alex Jones owes $229 million to just the first 3 plaintiffs, all family members of Sandy Hook victims. There are 9 more plaintiffs to go. So the first 2 already had a ruling, right? So this had to be the third ruling. Am I getting that right? Let me see what other context I can find here. I mean, good. I think at this point, this was kind of expected. Once he lost the first one tremendously, it's pretty clear. Okay, so one plaintiff alone is getting $120 million. That's in the Connecticut, the new one. There's even more. Okay, so Will Sumner here has a bigger breakdown. So he says, Sandy Hook jury verdict is in for Alex Jones, InfoWars trial in Connecticut. It's looking enormous. One plaintiff alone is getting $120. The massive judgment in the Sandy Hook case against Alex Jones coming in, where several plaintiffs in, and by my count, we're at roughly $761 million in damages demanded from Jones and InfoWars. Okay, here's my question, because I don't know how this shit works. How is he going to pay this? He definitely has some money. I don't know if he has $1 billion. I don't think he has $1 billion or anywhere near $1 billion. So what happens then? He just has his wages taken for the rest of his life? I mean, whatever. Good. You fuck around, you find out. It's about time he face some consequences. But is this the breaking news? Did I get all the breaking news? Is there more breaking news on this? I think this is all the news. My throat is getting increasingly drier. Oh, great. I unmuted there by accident. Apologies for that cough. Oh, my God. All right. I'm getting off in less than 5 minutes. Yeah, the as Tom Baker writes, the likely garnish his InfoWars crap. But is he still... Can he still sell that? Is he still selling that? I don't know how this works. I hope these people get the money they're owed, but I have a hard time understanding how he's going to come up with that. Oh, maybe I have my nose is itchy too for some reason. I have an allergic reaction to something I ate for lunch, which was just a bean salad. So I'm not sure what's wrong. Will Hudson says, love you, David. Thanks for the stream. Thank you. Let's finish the last 5 minutes on some chats, shall we? That's much better. Let's do that. Let's just chat. Trying to think what I should... Whatever. Here. I'll leave this up as I chat. I don't know. I don't know what to put beside me. Comrade says, lengthy jail time will be the only thing that's even somewhat approaching justice. I agree, but we're not going to get there. And really, I want Alex Jones's brain analyzed. That's throwing him in a concrete cell doesn't necessarily, solve any problem. But him not being allowed to have a platform, not being given a show, and him getting some professional help and maybe using that and using his brain to help future generations understand what the fuck is wrong with people like that. Like that would be the ultimate benefit to society, is we analyze this man and learn some things that we can use next time someone like this pops up, to maybe help them and fix them, make them maybe a little more empathetic, less willing to engage in garbage. But maybe that's wishful thinking. Camille says, have you ever played Power Wash Simulator? I have not, but I've heard many things about Power Wash Simulator. It looks like something that could be fun for a bit, for like a few minutes, but you know, a game like that, I get the point of it. Kind of relieve some stress for those that are maybe a little OCD. But I could just clean my kitchen, do the dishes. Like when I'm at the point of power washing something in a video game, maybe I should be power washing, you know, things in my own life. So that's why I really haven't tried it out. Goat Simulator is a riot. Also one I haven't played, though it looks ridiculous. Might be worth covering the new conservative leader in Alberta. I saw some crazy things about her. I don't know. I still got to do a proper video on Pierre Poilievre. That's kind of my focus right now in terms of Canadian politics. Goose Game. Also have not played Goose Game. Clara N says, when's the next gaming stream? I like your background noise. You like my background noise? What does that mean? You like to use me as background noise when I'm game streaming? Maybe this weekend. What's happening this weekend? What is this weekend? The 15th? The 15th. Maybe this weekend. The best way to know is to hit subscribe right now if you're not already subscribed, and hit the bell notification icon to be notified of all videos and when I go live, both on Twitch and on YouTube. Though at this point, if I'm on Twitch, I'm probably on YouTube at the same time as I am right now. That's kind of the direction I'm going to be going in for as long as I can. So make sure you are getting notified on YouTube. Wait, there's a video of Jones crying? Hold up. Okay. Well, now I'm interested. Let me see this. I feel like it would pop up immediately. Is it on his show or is it in court? I don't want to play InfoWars clips if that's what we're talking about here. Was he at home watching? Was he not in the courtroom? Hold up. What's going on here? As the jury reads the damages and the Sandy Hook parents weep, Alex Jones is on his broadcast laughing and assuring his audience that he won't actually be paying any of this money. He live streamed his own verdict? Is that what? What? I don't even understand.
$1,000. 57 million, 20 million, 50 million, 80 million, 100 million, blah, blah. You get $1 million, you get 100 million, you get a 50 million.
Slander damages.
Maybe at some point he cries, but that he looks fairly jovial to me. That is wild. That is he is just so disconnected.
Damage.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. I covered the initial Alex Jones ruling. Like the rest of them, it's going to be the same thing. So to continue publicizing this, I can't stand grifting pieces of shit and giving them attention. And, you know, I do it occasionally when I feel like I have to, like Tulsi Gabbard. But I didn't cover Candace Owens. I didn't cover Kanye West. Free clicks, those videos. Could have got some free clicks. Candace Owens, Kanye West, could have been big performers. But I have a hard time caring. It's the problem. It's a combination of having a hard time caring and just not feeling right covering it when these people are just purely doing this out of attention. And there's not really anything to refute. Like, I'm going to refute Kanye West? Really? Like, what is there? Do I need to? Do I need to? Candace Owens, if you're not already aware of how much of a grifter Candace Owens is, my video on her isn't going to convince you. So, I don't know. Like, it makes sense sometimes. Like Ben Shapiro, he'll use talking points that are often spouted, and it makes sense to, you know, debunk those. But Candace Owens, she even defended Kanye West and his anti-Semitism. Even Ben Shapiro didn't defend. He played both sides. He's like, well, Kanye has good positions on abortion. Like, he did that shit. But even he couldn't defend the obvious anti-Semitism from Kanye. So, you know, Candace Owens is just like an extra level. All right. Let's finish up with some of these chats and then I'm gone. Marcus T says Tulsi. Yes, Tulsi Gabbard. By the way, my video yesterday. Oh my God. I don't want to offend you No, I will offend you. If you commented on the video before watching it and not realized I was being sarcastic, there were a few of those comments on that video. Being like, you didn't see this coming? Obviously she was grifting. It's like, can you watch 10 seconds of the video? And it would become obvious that I was being sarcastic in the title. I thought it was obvious from the title and from my giant face in the thumbnail on the Tulsi video. Like, it wasn't obvious at that point that the title was obviously being sarcastic. But apparently some people, and look, some people have a hard time reading sarcasm. That's fine. But once you watch the video, it's clear that that we all saw this coming from the analysis. The entire video isn't sarcastic, just the title is. So, you know, my only ask is, if you are triggered by a title on a video, just please watch the video first before commenting, because you may come out feeling a little dumb if you write a comment that makes no sense in the context of the video. But whatever, I can't control how people feel. It bothers me that there are people out there that think that I was surprised that Tulsi Gabbard is a Republican because they read that title and didn't watch the video. But it is what it is. All right. What other chats here? Tyler says, any upcoming games you're looking forward to? My favorite questions. Thank you so much. If we could just talk about games all day, I'm good with that. God of War for sure comes out next month. This month, actually, shit, when does this come out? Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. The first one was fantastic. I think it's coming out soon. Maybe this week. Hold up. Sorry, I gotta look this up because I gotta be ready. The 20th. So next week. Sweet. So those are, in terms of new games, those two. Oh, Tactics Ogre as well, the remaster, because I didn't play the original. Definitely gonna pick that up as well. Maybe there are some others. I don't know. Persona. If you haven't played Persona 5, it hits every platform. I think next week. So definitely pick up Persona 5 if you have not played it. But I recently got a... Look at this thing. Look at this freaking thing. This is the Steam Deck. This thing is large. Rather large. But it is amazing. Let me pull it out here. I don't own a PC. So this is my PC. Plays Steam games and does a lot of emulation stuff, which I want to get set up on here as well. But freaking great. I've been playing a lot of Vampire Survivors on that. I've been playing Bayonetta, the first one. It was like $5 on Steam, so I picked it up. I was surprised how much I enjoy Bayonetta. Great game. I may actually check out the sequels after I play this one. So I've mostly been playing a lot of Steam Deck. Started Fire Emblem on Switch. 3 Houses, the turn-based strategy one. Very good. Very good. But I'm jumping around between like 1,000 games. I'm still playing The Messenger, which I played on stream this weekend. Great game, still super hard. Playing a bit of Overwatch 2 online. Now that it's working, I really enjoy Overwatch as much as I hate, Activision and some other stuff going on with that game. The game's still fun. Overwatch still good. Tom Baker says, "What's your take on Mario's butt?" LOL. Hey, maybe he worked out. Maybe he worked out a little bit and just lost a little meat there. It's fine with me. whatever the artists want to do for the movie, I'm not going to complain. Tactics Ogre is a classic. Yes, Brian. I'm looking forward to it. I got big into Triangle Strategy this year. Great game. Bayonetta 3 out the 28th. Yep, but I won't be playing that till I finish the first 2 at this point. So hopefully by then it'll be discounted a little bit. Oh, and I started Ni no Kuni last night because I don't know why I'm a moron. Playing too many things at once. Very fun so far, but I have not played Dragon Quest, any Dragon Quest actually, but the one that is out everywhere. What is it, 11? I don't even know what the number is. But it's on like PS Plus now. It's on Xbox Game Pass. So I also want to get into that. And there's too much. Am I going to play the Dead Space remake? Probably not, because horror games scare the F out of me. So I think I will not play that one. Unfortunately, I really wish I liked horror games more. They just scare the shit out of me, and I never end up actually beating them. All right, I gotta go. Unfortunately, now that it's getting good and I want to be here all day, I have to go. I should do just specific gaming streams. Oh wait, I have done those on the weekend usually. So make sure you follow me, subscribe, hit the bell icon. We'll do some game streaming, talk games and politics if you're also into that stuff, that depressing shit. But come follow me, come watch, and thank you all for showing up. Goodbye. See you next time. Later.